is Dr. Edward Allred. Is this man America's most prolific serial killer? Is it true that Allred specifically targeted Hispanic and black children for violence? This La Sierra University is a Seventh-day Adventist institution nationally acclaimed for its diverse campus and its service to others. In 2010, La Sierra established a center in the business school to promote financial literacy and entrepreneurship, and they named the center after Dr. Edward Allred. You can go to the homepage here, click on Centers, and it even says right here on their website that Allred's business of targeting children of racial minorities to be killed is, quote, the inspiration behind its economic philosophy. They even put a plaque on the wall which reads, "This Adventist University wishes to thank Allred for supporting the School of Business. His thoughtful generosity will forever be an example to our students, reminding them to make a difference with the resources that God has entrusted to their care." This man, who has killed hundreds of thousands of little children, is going to be an example to Adventist students forever. Killing children is honored as an example. Ripping babies to pieces for money is called entrepreneurship, and it is inspiring. This is sick. As you see here, the Adventist Review is the flagship journal of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Look here, if you click on Partners, Loma Linda University and Medical Center in California is the flagship medical and educational institution of the worldwide Seventh-day Adventist Church, and the administration honors Allred right here as the #1 benefactor. And on the wall at Loma Linda is a list of distinguished ambassadors, and there is Dr. Edward Allred, ambassador, a representative or promoter of a specified activity. A man famous for his racism and for violently murdering hundreds of thousands of children is the inspiration and ambassador. Right here, the official stated mission is to continue the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. They have honored and chosen Allred as their ambassador and representative for the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. And you can see Edward Allred listed again right here. They actually honored him on top of the Hispanic supporters. A press release from La Sierra said Allred remains active in the Adventist Church. La Sierra University is just one of many Adventist institutions that have benefited from his blood money, aka philanthropic giving. Many institutions, here are a few more. You can see here that Monterey Bay Academy built a new library with donations from Allred, and it And look, published right here in our very own Adventist Review, in a report presented at the General Conference in session, who was honored for giving large donations to our church institutions? Edward Allred.
But I do want to thank you enormously for the confidence you have put into the very careful process that we have gone over in the last, as Juan said, year, but specifically 8-9 months. Now, the item that is before us, my friends, through the chair, is also an extremely delicate and sensitive item. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has never had an official statement on the support of life and relating it to abortion. There have been guidelines which were issued and voted on in 1992, and you will hear that referenced in just a few moments. But it was a far more limited approach in terms of a comprehensive view of the biblical approach to this precious subject. The statement that is coming before you has been in the process, and it will be shared with you, but for about 2 years. It has been a careful process, and we believe it is a very balanced document.
Before we read it, let us answer some questions. What the document is and what the document is not. Some have described the document as a nuclear weapon against the Adventist hospitals and health systems.
If one looks at the statistics around the 1970s, 1980s, and early 1990s, unfortunately and sadly, and because that happens to be the case, statistics which remain heavily embedded in the memories of many. We did not have a wonderful history in our health institutions related to it.
Thank you, Dr. Elias. So it is very clear that the mission statement of Jesus Christ himself was and is to seek and to save. And the mission statement of the church is the same. We are not about going and punishing. We are about going and saving. This is our mission statement.
Point number 6. God's grace promotes life in a world marred by sin and death. It's God's nature to protect, preserve, and sustain life. In addition to the providence of God over His creation, the Bible acknowledges the wide-ranging, devastating, and degrading effects of sin on the creation, including on human bodies. In Romans 8:20 through 24, Paul describes the impact of the fall as subjecting the creation to futility. Consequently, in rare and extreme cases, human conception may produce pregnancies with fatal prospects and/or acute life-threatening birth anomalies that present individuals and couples with exceptional dilemmas. Decisions in such cases may be left to the conscience of the individuals involved and their families.
So, number 4, please. Your name and where you're from.
Doug Batchelor, pastor in North America. Firstly, I'd like to praise God that the church is addressing this issue, and I want to thank those responsible for making this happen. It's a good document. I wish it had happened sooner. I, for one, can think of several people that were baptized or about to join our church over the years, and then they discovered our church's existing posted guidelines on abortion, and they left the church. I'd like to make 3 points. Some have been addressed. First, I believe the Bible unequivocally teaches that human life is a miracle and a gift of God's creation in His own image and begins at conception. This is a good document. I
Thank
believe
you.
it'd be stronger if the writing committee would either edit, and I don't know if there'll be a committee, or remove point 6 or clarify it. But with these points in mind, I would strongly encourage the voting of this.
Second point, the document or the statement is strangely silent about probably the most painful issue in regard to abortion, namely rape. I think that, I hope that we will not send a false signal to our churches by omitting in this document problem of violence and rape. And I think I don't need to explain that how rape is dominant in our postmodern society. Only in this country, in the US, reported 90,000 rapes each year. It means 250 every day.
From Loma Linda University. I want to appreciate this document for the value it places on the sanctity of life. I think it's useful for those who are not from a medical background to understand what we now know about pregnancies. Clearly, an elective abortion, which we often refer to as an elective abortion, we don't do at Loma Linda, have never done. On the other hand are those pregnancies that end up in a miscarriage, as we call it. We correctly call it a spontaneous abortion, in which the body rejects that fetus and aborts it. There are also some cases in which the body doesn't reject it, but the fetus is just as dead. And the question is, I think we would all agree, there's no point in carrying a pregnancy at risk to the mother if the fetus has died or if it's incompatible with life. The tough part is the middle ones, in between the two. And there's a few cases of these that, frankly, much of this discussion hangs around. Such things as placenta previa, which with placenta is growing across the mouth of the womb, may end up in fatal hemorrhaging of the mother. There are also some cases in which the body doesn't reject it, but the fetus is just as dead. And the question is, I think we would all agree, there's no point in carrying a pregnancy at risk to the mother if the fetus has died or if it's incompatible with life. A thing like trisomy 21, a genetic defect of the fetus which is incompatible with life. And so the baby is going to die at some point, but may not be aborted spontaneously. Such things as rupture of the membranes or breaking of the waters, as we call them. And if that happens before 20 weeks of pregnancy, that baby's lungs cannot develop. And so when the baby is born, even though it's not aborted, when it's born at 40 weeks, almost invariably will die. It's those kind of decisions in the middle that I think we've got to have paragraph 6 for.
There's a commandment, a divine commandment, which says, you shall not kill. Is this absolute or not? If it is absolute, how do we deal with this? We wrestled with this question. Has a church the right to say you can kill anyway? Has the church the right to do that?
People. But in contradistinction to Elder Batchelor, I see Section 6 as being probably one of the more important practical applications and statements for us to have, especially when it comes to our institutions such as Loma Linda referral institutions, because they sometimes face very, very difficult questions. Sometimes when we say that God is the creator and he watched, we have to ask ourselves, what about the malformations?